All right, let's talk about something that's like the unsung hero of our digital lives. It's this hidden system that makes pretty much everything on the internet just work. So we're going to dive right in and ask, what exactly is a REST API? Have you ever really stopped to think about it? You pull up your weather app and boom, there's the forecast. Or you're on a travel site and somehow it's showing you flights from dozens of different airlines all on one page. How does that even happen? It kind of feels like magic, right? Well, it's not magic, but it is some seriously cool and elegant technology. So that right there highlights a massive challenge. I mean, think about it. The internet is this giant, sprawling patchwork of millions of different apps. They're all built by different people using totally different technologies. For any of this to work together, they have to have a way to talk to each other, a common language. So how in the world do they pull that off?
Well, the answer to that communication puzzle is something called an API. And honestly, the best way to think about it is as a special kind of digital messenger. Its entire job is to carry requests from one piece of software to another, and then bring back the response. That's it.
Okay, to really get a grip on this, let's just forget all the techie stuff for a second. Let's talk about something we all understand. A restaurant. Seriously, this simple analogy is probably the best way to understand what an API is actually doing behind the scenes.
So an API stands for Application Programming Interface. But let's stick with the analogy. The API, it's the waiter. You, or rather your app, you're the customer, the client. You know what you want, but you can't just barge into the kitchen, the server, and start grabbing ingredients, right? No way. You need the waiter. The waiter is that perfect middleman who knows the menu, knows the rules, and knows exactly how to talk to the kitchen. And the whole process is super straightforward, really just 4 steps. 1, you make a request. I'll have the burger. 2, the API, our waiter, takes your order to the server, aka the kitchen. 3, the kitchen gets the order, fires up the grill, and cooks your burger. And 4, the API comes back with the response. The waiter brings that delicious burger right to your table. See? It's a clean, predictable process every single time. Okay, so we've got the API part down. That's our waiter. But what about the REST part of REST API? What's that all about? Well, REST isn't a thing itself. It's more like a set of rules. It's the training manual for how the waiter is supposed to act to make everything run smoothly and efficiently. And here's the key. REST is what we call a web-style approach. That's because it basically just uses the same simple, reliable rules that make the entire internet work. So you can think of REST as this universal rule book. It makes sure that any customer can walk into any restaurant and talk to any waiter because they're all playing by the same set of rules. No confusion. So what do these rules look like in practice? Well, let's look at the 2 most common requests. First, there's a GET request. This is like just looking at the menu. You're simply asking to get information. You're not changing anything. The waiter just brings you the menu. Then there's a POST request. This is when you're ready to order. You're sending new information, your order, to the kitchen. So GET is for reading, and POST is for creating or changing something. Simple as that. Okay, this whole restaurant analogy has been great, right? But now it's time to bring it all back to the real world, to the actual technology that makes your apps work. Let's swap the food for data and see how it all lines up. So here's the direct translation. The diner in our story, that's your app, the client. The waiter, the go-between, that's the REST API itself. The kitchen, doing all the heavy lifting, that's a server somewhere out there on the internet. And the food, the thing you are waiting for, that's the data you see on your screen, the weather forecast, the flight details, you name it. It really is a perfect one-to-one mapping. Okay, so now we get how it works. But so what? Why does any of this matter? Well, this seemingly simple system, this invisible plumbing of the internet, is actually a huge, huge deal. Its impact is just massive. Here's why it's such a game changer. First, that standardization we talked about. It means everyone is speaking the same language. That allows for incredible scale. It's how a service like Google Maps can be inside thousands of other apps, all at the same time. It also gives developers incredible flexibility. They can mix and match different APIs, like digital Legos, to build brand new things we've never seen before. Honestly, this whole concept is the backbone of the modern web. It's how most of the apps and websites you use every single day are able to function. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought.
Every single day, creative developers are using these APIs, these digital waiters, to connect surfaces in ways no one ever thought possible. And it just makes you wonder, right? What's the next big thing? What new, world-changing connection is just waiting to be built with the next great API?
If you learned something new in this video, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next bite.